This is the greatest moment that you and I have ever lived. We have never been better or greater or more alive than we are right now. Breathe that in. You see, as long as we believe there was a better yesterday, or that tomorrow holds for us some guarantee, we're missing out on the greatest moment that we'll ever live, and that's right now. Right now is where we have the power to change our minds, to make a decision, help us have a new thought. What a concept. Because we truly are empowered individuals full of spirit, not ourselves, understanding the work of natural laws, which all Christed people that have ever lived on this planet have been here to show us. It is not I, but the Father, the God within me, the divine within me that doeth the work. What I just said to you is my anchor. I wrote that 33 years ago. I have said that so many times in my life. This is the greatest moment that we've ever lived. Back in the day, I even had it on my voice machine. A lot of people chewed me out and yelled at me, "What do you mean it's the greatest moment that ever lived? I got to talk to you about this problem I have." But what is your anchor? It's always better when it comes from your soul awakening. It's always better when you have your own manifesto, when you have your own creed, when you have your own identification that grounds and anchors you in the moment. What is that? Perhaps you have one. Perhaps you are longing for one. Journal. And yes, you can quote someone else as long as it really permeates with your being. Every time I pull that out, it just, everybody breathe with me. We've been talking about, last week and this week, we are addressing being a difference maker. It's somewhat of things I've discovered on my life path, but for me, it's not about me. It's about a path that we're all on as human beings, and how we integrate what we learn in spiritual values to be a more expanded human being. And so last week we talked about being a sacred warrior, of how we stand and how we hold a container of who we are, backed by universal law and love, and how back in the day people would stand before a mountain and say it's raining and it would rain. Please no one practice that right now. Give us a few days of sunshine. Okay, but sacred warrior. And then I talked about the silent genius of the art of healing and revealing and strength. Today I'm talking about the other two, and I donated the books to the bookstore if you would like to get one. We're doing it as a little fundraiser, but that's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because it's on my heart of how to be a difference maker. We need more difference makers than ever. We need more people not just to come in and go, "That was nice." We need people to go, "That was nice because I'm going to go out in the world and I'm going to do something with what I'm learning." Do we agree about that? Yeah. I have ministers contact me from all over. "What do you do to get younger people in your community?" And my answer is always very simple. You show what you're talking about. You don't just talk about it. You're doing things in the community. You're helping. You're addressing issues. You're talking about climate change. You're taking the information that we're learning and going out and making a difference. So the first one that I'm talking about today is the enlightened rebel. I bet you if we did a questionnaire, we're not, but if we did, we would find that everybody in the box would check, "I am a rebel." I would imagine, otherwise you would probably be with some more accepted form of religiosity or spirituality. You would not be the one in the family that goes, "You know, you're just very different and unique. What's this unity thing?" Okay, it's safe to say that we are here because we are thinking original people. We aren't one to live in a box, yes, and we like to allow ourselves to follow our own inner guidance. Did I claim some of you right there? Yes. And we want to make sure that we are enlightened rebels. What does that mean? It means that we do not want you to gather and misunderstand that you're not supposed to ever be angry. If you live in today's times and you're not angry about something, let's do a pulse check. You're in trouble, and let's meet you and get you woken up. How can we not? How can we not see some of the things that go on, even in our own neighborhood, and not be angry? It's a feeling, it's an emotion that God gifted us with, therefore we have it. It's not the anger that is the issue, it's the misuse of it or the denial of it that it builds up over time and becomes explosive. But enlightened rebels pick something that they feel strongly about, and they do something with it. On October 1, 2017, we had one of the largest mass shootings in America at a concert at Las Vegas. And as life would have it, oddly enough, I had already pre-scheduled an interview with Arun Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi's fifth grandson, and he was going to be on my TV show. It's on YouTube if you'd like to look it up under the playlist called, Intentional Spirit. And so I was meeting him on Monday, the day after this happened. And we're sitting there in this space, somewhat in shock, somewhat taken back. And he said to me, Reverend Temple, today, October 2nd, is my grandfather's birthday. And he said, so I'm pulling all the energy of my grandfather and his teaching of nonviolence and all that. And oddly enough, he was also meeting with me because we were talking about his new book, The Gift of Anger. Because as he stated very clearly, anger is a gift. Anger is asking us to create boundaries. It's asking us to look for new ways of being, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he said he learned so much from his grandfather. And he said that one time he was 11, and he didn't like this small pencil that he had. And it just really aggravated him. And so he went out in the yard and he threw the pencil down. And he was just very convinced that his grandfather, Mahatma Gandhi, was going to buy him a new one. And so he came in and said, grandfather, I threw my old tired small pencil away. And grandfather said, why are you calling it small? And what is it about it that you don't really like? I want you to take a flashlight, and I want you to go outside, and I want you in the dark, I want you to find this pencil. So Arun was out in the backyard in the dark for 2 hours, and he finally found the pencil, and he brought it in back to his grandfather. And his grandfather, Gandhi, held it and said, do you see how many natural resources that it took to make this pencil? With you throwing it away, it's a violence against nature. Do you know how many people will throw away pencils and throw away anything because they feel like they need a new one? Just because we can afford it, that's a violence against nature. It changed Arun's life. And he went on to represent the values of his grandfather. Isn't that beautiful? I just love that. And what a iconic man. He was the founder, along with AG&T, of the Season for Nonviolence, which now is in libraries and hospitals and churches and synagogues all over the world. It's a really wonderful thing. But he addressed passive violence and how so many people live with it. Passive violence creates people to gossip, talk about other people. It's about people that go by the homeless and give them $1 to make their guilt feel better. Those are his words. That passive violence is when we might think something, but then we do nothing. So Enlightened Rebel calls us to do more than write a country music song, even though that's very moving. but to actually be difference makers in our community. You have always done a lot here at Unity of Santa Barbara. I realize I'm talking to people already engaged, but I don't know about you. I'm like Oprah, use me up. I want to do more. Right? I want to do more. I met this past week with the Adventures in, what's the last word, Bent? This is all free flow. What was Adventures in? Adventures in Caring, about a woman named Karen Fox that had a diagnosis. And she transformed that diagnosis into realizing that very little love and vulnerability is available to the people that need the help, that are being diagnosed. So she created Raggedy Ann. It goes on to say she never even wore Halloween costumes, but she started dressing up in a Raggedy Ann costume and going, and found that the patients would talk to her when they wouldn't talk to anybody else, because Raggedy Ann could be trusted. And she and her husband Simon have done huge work all over the country, and others about this work. I met this week about enlightened rebels that are upset about what's happening with the animals and the kill shelters and all that. And instead of just sitting around and complaining and having a glass of wine, they could, I couldn't. Instead of doing that, we didn't go there. We went to, what can we do here at Unity of Santa Barbara? Ask that question. What can we do here at Unity? We have the space, we have the people, we have the love. So the second aspect is the intentional spirit. And is this working for you okay? Okay. One day you're going to say no, and I'm going to have to figure it out. Noreen and I break into song or something. The next one is the intentional spirit. And that one also is very near and dear to my heart. The intentional spirit is more than a person that has good intentions. A lot of people have good intentions. But wait till something's in the way, and then the project doesn't get finished. Then I'm too busy. That mantra of I'm too busy. I wish nobody had ever created that. Just say I'm creative. I'm busy, it means I have no control over my life. I'm a victim, and somebody else does my calendar other than me. I don't mean that to what somebody said earlier. That's just my own path. It's like we're creative people, right? And so that being said, the intentional spirit, think of goal setting, think of New Year's resolutions, right? It's like the intentional spirit continues to move forward even though they don't see anything happening. How many of you have a goal right now or a dream and it doesn't seem that it's happening? Anybody willing to raise your hand? Nobody can see your face in the witness protection program. They're only going to see the back of your hair. Thank you. There's a few of you that raise your hand. I'm one of those too. An example would be that next Sunday, a big celebration. Time is changing that Sunday too. Remember that time change. Next Sunday is a big celebration because Reverend Kathy and Steve will be presenting a huge globe and wings from the artifacts of Unity. But see, what's important to me, more important than the celebration, is how intentionally did that happen? You might wonder. Thank you for asking. Thank you, BB. I can always count on you. So how it happened was about a year ago, Reverend Kathy and I started talking about how both of us didn't like the fact that they changed the logo in the Unity movement. We love the wings. Charles Fillmore felt so strongly about the wings. It's humankind rising up to the Christ consciousness within his or her own understanding and enveloping that divine love all over the planet. And they did away with the wings and they put them in the basement. And Kathy and I were talking about how we want to bring that kind of logo back to Unity of Santa Barbara. I hope you find that pleasing. But we, rather than a pineapple or something that we don't understand that's colorful, we wanted to bring that original foundation because it's an immense teaching. So we were talking about that. We were giving that energy and we were changing the website and stuff like that. And then Kathy had planned with a bunch of people, where also Peggy and Jim got a Holy Union thing going on at Unity Village. And they found all these artifacts of wings in the globe. And then Kathy goes, we want that. And then meetings happen about that. My point is, it started a long time ago. They say a miracle is what happens when you wake up one day and you're there and you don't remember all the steps it took to get you there. Yes? So many years ago, as a personal share today, because I'm still new to you and I realize some of you don't know much about me and I'm learning about you, my intention was that I no longer wanted to live a secret. I believe in eternal truth. I believe in being direct. You might have noticed that. But there was a side of my life that was a secret because when I was 10, my mother was accused of having an affair and she was sent away and had those barbaric shock treatments and almost killed her. It almost killed her. I can still smell the tar on the road, and it triggers that memory that my mother was taken from me and my brothers, and we didn't know where she was. And so anyway, it really affected her deeply. It erased her memory of a lot of things, including that, beautiful man, I guess. Anyway, that being said, so then 3.5 years later, my father discovers letters and understands that I'm in a relationship with a young girl. And in a Southern Baptist town, that everything is Baptist. If you're not a Baptist, you're going to hell anyway. So I don't even know why they bother. But if you're not a Baptist, I'm telling you the truth. And this is the way it was there. But that was it. So the whole family started talking, and Temple was going to hell, and I'm 13 and a half. I don't even have a driver's license yet. But my life is over as I knew it. And where I went in my mind is, oh my gosh, they're going to send me away. They're going to do that to me. And I can't do that. So I denied. I went into secret. I denied. And my family, many of them never made contact with me the rest of their lives. All true. All true. But there was a part of me that I would share with friends. And I had a few people that really would love me just the way I am and all that, but reserved. And when people would start talking to me and asking me questions, well, I would shut down, absolutely shut down, because I'm like, if you knew me, you're going to treat me like my family did, and you're never going to talk to me again, And I'm not going to tell you if I'm sharing a seat in an airplane. Back in the day, people used to talk when they were on an airplane. Now they're on their own little journey thing, but when somebody started asking me questions, I would just close down. That little girl would reveal itself, that uncomfortable feeling, yes? So it was either that I was having an epiphany or that BB was in my life and I no longer wanted to be a secret. And so I said, I am a person who teaches people to tell the truth. And I am incongruent. Thank you, Pawnee. I'm so glad you came back this Sunday and you're clapping. Thank you. I'm telling you this because this is your story. You may not be a gay person or a trans person, but somehow we do tend to live a secret about who we are. Somebody that's wanting to achieve a dream that we don't want anyone to know, or somebody that's unhappy that we're afraid somebody will judge us if we tell them, or somebody that used to have great wealth and now you don't, but you're still trying to put on airs. Secrets can be upon us, yes? And so I just got really clear, I don't want to do that anymore. So I taught a membership class, and we had 45 people. Back in those days, we had lots of people come to membership class, not membership meetings. We'd have 500 or 600 if something was wrong. Otherwise, very few people came. That's another talk for a different day. Anyway, so 45 people, and I told them what I just told you. Nobody died. Nobody quit. Nobody left in the middle of my talk. And I thought, that's okay. So the next Sunday, when we had 800 people there, 2 services, combined for 2 services, I went, I'm going to do it. I sang a song, and I told the story about my life. I elaborated because I took up the whole time in the service. And nobody died, nobody quit. And nobody said they didn't want to be a member at First Unity anymore. I went, and I felt so free. Well, then Lifetime Television called and asked me if I would be on the show, a show they had. And I said, sure, I'd be happy to. And I just knew that didn't mean that. I said, I'd be glad to. I can talk about empowerment. No, that's not exciting. I can talk about sobriety. Oh, no, that's not exciting. Well, I can talk about shamanism. Nah, that's not exciting. I went, oh my gosh, I get what you want me to say. It's about my sexuality. They went, when can you come? So at 50 years old, I came out on national television. Never, thank you, never to live in the closet again, never to be a secret, never to apologize, never to be concerned of it being someone's issue because it's not mine, and never to take that on. It's so freeing when you live out loud, and I believe we have a little clip we're going to show if you're interested in that today.
Yes.
Alcohol.
So what led you then to say, okay, I need to do something, I need to change my self-esteem and the way I feel about myself?
I remembered what I wrote when I was 14 and a half. Today I have found me. I don't like what I see, and you don't either, but I must be me in order to become the person that I'm supposed to be. And I drew from the words of Agmendino that says, God, my life is your gift to me, and what I do with my life is my gift to you. So I just knew that God had given me a life and that I was supposed to be amazing, not ordinary. And so I just stayed open and prayed to discover more people like me, the mirror, you know?
And when you mentioned the mirror, I was always raised, my mom always telling me, look in the mirror and love what you see.
Yes.
And you did not like what you see, but you learned to love yourself then.
I learned to love myself. And by the way, you're amazing.
Oh, no, you're more amazing. You are really an inspiration for me. Now, let's talk about someone maybe out there who doesn't have that self-esteem, that says, well, you know, okay, I'm getting it. I believe her. Oh, yeah. So, Temple, how can they start transforming themselves?
There's a lot of people out there like that. First thing you can do is start every day writing 50 things you love about yourself. You know, when I first did that, I thought of 3 or 4. That's sad. But as I did it every day as part of my ritual and exercise, I started being able to list more. And I would put like, I love my eyes. And then people would say, you have the most beautiful eyes. And I go, thank you for noticing. I didn't say, well, I wrote that down this morning, right?
So you don't say thank you. You say thank you for noticing.
I really feel it. Right. So it's important to be an intentional spirit. It's important to be congruent. It takes courage. It takes a lot of willingness. You really learn to heal whether someone's going to like you or not. If somebody really likes you, they like all of you. If they don't like all of you, there's 8 billion people on the planet that you have to choose from. You know what I'm saying? So in closing, I heard this today, and it was, I didn't hear it today, excuse me, I heard it last night. It really touched me, and I wanted to share it with you. It was on a commencement talk, and I wasn't able to research who originated it. Hate has 4 letters, so does love. Enemies has 7 letters, so does friends. Lying has 5 letters, so does truth. Hurt has 4 letters, so does heal. Cry has 3 letters, so does joy. Negativity has 10 letters, so does positivity. Life is 2-sided, choose the better side of it. Yeah. So as an intentional spirit, as you're interacting with other people in business, in friendship, at church, wherever you are, ask yourself, is there any way that I'm reserving my heart? Is there any way that I'm holding back? And that's the answer to move forward. Thank you for sharing your time with me today. Very grateful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.